what is the major surprise or difference when you are working in the professional world compared to your idea of that world when you were a student? Or you know exactly what you're going into when you start a career? Anyone? Martin?
I think one of the differences is that I was a student here. I had more like free time during the day, like academic freedom. I could, study at home, study here whenever I wanted. And here, since I work 8 to 5 every day, that's the difference there. And also managing the time is very important, and it's also different when I used to be student.
You go.
Well, the one thing I figured out that when I was a student, I would have never thought of looking in a hospital for a job like I was doing. Because I was here like you guys, taking classes, and one of my friends was like, you should go talk to the hospital. I never considered that you have anyone like me there. So there are other places that are amongst you that are going to need what y'all do. And they're going to need your different types of skills to come in. So that's something really to keep into consideration.
That's right. The healthcare sector is still growing. They need a lot of IT, design, training, management people. Right? Not only for
IT's huge. We have our own IT department. It's one of the larger departments in our healthcare system. We have, I think we're still one of the largest employers, like 1,900 employees in the county. And just about every person has a computer. So you need people to manage the network, the systems. All the healthcare data systems all have to be up, or patients get the wrong medication. Our whole medication pharmacy is all computer generated now. It's all barcoded, it's all generated. Patients are all now, they have the barcoding. There's such a change in technology that it's actually becoming its own type of a degree now.
Christina?
Yeah, a few of panelists here, Carolyn and Christina at least, had mentioned get a job, get your feet wet with something real. And when I was going through, I worked at DMDC. A lot of interns from here, in fact, if you go to DMDC, half of the 6th floor is all CSUMB students. But one thing I wanted to throw out there is that I've got a lot of business clients that are starting their small businesses, all sorts of different things. Some high-tech, some low-tech things, all over the place. And they all, they're starting up businesses, so they don't have much money, but they really have a lot of exciting things going on. They would all love to have interns. So if you guys are, if any of you are looking for internships, you haven't, let me know and let me know what it is that you're interested in doing, and I can match you up with companies that can utilize your skills and potentially can get in on the ground floor of something that's getting ready to go pretty big.
For me, the difference of pre-job as to being in a job is when they show you your job description, once you get hired, you will not be doing just those things. It's, some of them you will, but, for instance, when I started my job at NPS after a couple months, my boss said, well, what do you think about Java? And I said, I enjoy it in the morning before work, but I don't want to do programming. And, basically, the more you know, the better job security you have. I didn't think for this conference that I'd be going to the hotel and the conference grounds doing a wine tasting or a food tasting or taking photos of the rooms or calling to see, if we can get the number of rooms extended. So it's like I was also doing event planning. But the more you know and the more flexible you are, it's job security. So don't go into a job and it says you're going to be the web designer and think, I'm just going to go in from 8 to 5 and do HTML all day and not want to learn anything new and not do anything additional that my boss asked me, because there's someone who they could pay for less who will get in there and do more than you. And you may have a brand new education where you may have graduated 10 years ago. So, for me, the first 30 minutes of my day is checking, various websites about technology and seeing what the new trends are out there, because I have to stay up to date with them. So.
And you may want to describe, are you surprised when you start working professionally, the experience that is not what you expected? And also, we have a question for you. Does Hosting offer internship?
You know, they do. I've only been there since June, so since I've been there, we've had one intern who she did like accounting, kind of account management kind of things, but I'm sure that we would, because I mean, it's such an amazing environment to be in. It would be great to be able to have students come in. And actually next week, Bobby Long is bringing a class over, you know, to check things out. But the biggest surprise, I think, is having to learn that your design, even though it's fantastic and great, isn't always going to fly. You know, it's like learning how much the client has to do with approval, and when they're dead set on something, it's just that the process of negotiating and, you know, like being able to stand behind your design and kind of show them something new and something different, something they may not have thought about, but just knowing that some people just have a very clear idea of what they want, and that's what you need to give them. You know, and it's like ego needs to be set aside, and you know, you just really need to learn how to work with people and how to communicate. I think is the biggest thing, is being able to express yourself, but then to really, they know their market and what is needed. So sometimes it takes learning from them as well as they learn from you.
Yeah, many students, especially people on the graphic art side, want to express your own passion or your own idea. But as a designer, you are hired to solve other people's problems. When you work for a company or any organization, you are hired to achieve their vision. So you want to make sure first you pick the right company so their vision and your vision kind of jive well. But definitely you have to consider their position. You can do art or creative if they allow you, but you are hired to solve their problem. Keep that in mind. Maybe Terry will tell us, you work for a very substantial company, right?
So,
any of the culture surprised you that when you were a student you didn't know?
I'm very different from everyone else. I was actually working when I came here. And in fact, I haven't paid for the college so far. Because one of the benefits when you work for a company is they will give you a lot of money to get a degree. So I take advantage of it constantly. Yeah, it's a surprise. The downside is they don't give you any free time. So when I got my bachelor's, I was leaving work, driving as fast as I could to take night classes here. So the big surprise for me after I graduated was I had free time again. The second surprise that I got during the master's is I was allowed to work from home a lot. So you can negotiate that as well. So that helps quite a bit. And the third surprise is that they'll actually allow you to work home all the time. Because one of the things that we don't talk about a lot in these classes is money's important to business. So not only do you have to stand up for your design, you better be able to show them how your design is going to save them money. Or it doesn't matter how great it is, they're not going to go for it. So one of the ways I was able to work from home is that I can save them money. One of the ways that I save them a lot of money is innovation and the ideas that we're taught here can be implemented and can save them. So I don't go in there ever and say, if I've got a new tool and it's wonderful and you should buy me a $50,000 server to test it. I go in there, and by the way, they cost that much. I go in there and I say, give me $50,000 and I'll save you $500,000. And I document it all, because it's business. Unless you're working for yourself, and even then, money's what matters. Your design and your technology and the rest of it is just dollar signs to business. And that's one of the things that I've noticed a lot from the different classes I've been in. We never think about that. So, and you have to. It really is all about money. You can't save them money. They'll hire someone much cheaper. One of the big constraints that I have right now is talking my bosses out of going to China. So if you can get an internship and get on the ground floor, because you're going to be competing against 1 billion Chinese and 800 million Indians and 50 million Polish technology workers, and we're actually going to Argentina. So that's the other big message, is that businesses are global. And again, if you can save them money, wonderful. If you can't, they'll find someone much cheaper. So
that's the harsh truth, isn't it? Hazel?
I guess this is to all of the graduates. One of my biggest fears is that I'm going into game design. So I don't know if anybody would have any experience in that. But my biggest worry is that they'll ask me to do something that while in college I could say like, oh, here's my example, but now I don't remember how to do it. Kind of a thing. So like I was awesome at C++ when I was doing it that semester, but now it's like, now that I'm not practicing constantly, I forgot a lot of it. So is it a lot of like relearning stuff, or am I like drowning here?
So one question I always ask the panel, this is a good way. So how do you keep yourself up to date in terms of your craft? Carolyn?
Well, in that case, what happens is the minute you sit in front of the programming and you look at it, it comes back to you. It really does after sitting there and doing it, because I went mostly through the design side. I took C++ because I had to. And it was one of those things that it has become invaluable, because I've ended up learning and being able to move through 7 different programming languages, really with just a couple of main 4 classes. You end up to learn to adapt and make it do what you want. You don't have to hand code all of it at that point, but at that point you need to get the flexibility and you learn, and it comes back pretty easy. And at that point, the nice part is now everything's on the web. So anytime you come towards something you look for, you have to be smart enough to learn to do a search, to adapt it, or to maybe take an online class or a seminar. There's so many classes online that are free. MIT offers tons of different older classes online for free. So part of it is figuring out how to use the web to your advantage. But it'll come back totally.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
And I think, you know, to kind of piggyback off of what Sarah said, don't be afraid to tell them that you either don't remember or you're rusty at it. But if you tell them, you know what, I did it a couple years ago, I'm not as caught up as I'd like to be, but if you just give me the opportunity, I will work to relearn, learn new technology, because that's what they want to hear. That's what employers want to hear, is that you are willing. Because if you're willing, then that's like money in the bank for them. Then having to go out and find someone who already, you know, has all those skill sets, who wants maybe $30,000 more a year, who may not be as caught up as you're willing to be. You know, a lot of people get really stuck in what they know. I'll use my mom, for instance, okay? I hope my mom doesn't see the video. But, you know, I'll tell my mom that, you know, I learned how to do this today, and she goes, oh, you know, I just know how to type. And I'm like, then go learn. Learn something new. Like, you are the person who holds yourself back, no one else. No one can tell you no. You can only tell yourself no. So if you go out there and say, you know what, I don't really remember how to do this, but I'm gonna, like Carolyn said, Google it. Ask a friend. You know, you can ask Dr. Tao. I'm sure there are plenty of graduates that he could put you in contact with that are willing to help you. I mean, I've been coming and speaking to Dr. Tao's classes for 4 years now. And the one thing that I always say is that if anyone in his classes needs any help, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me through, I still have my Station B email. You know, I'm willing to help anyone. I've helped students with resumes, I've helped students find jobs, you know, who just need some mentoring. Use your resources at the university level, past, present, you know, future, and that will get you to where you want to be, because it's only yourself that's going to hold you back from anything you want, job, life, whatever.
Especially Station B is such a young campus. We don't have a lot of graduates, so get them on your mailing list, or get them contact in your memo. Sooner or later, you probably should contact them. Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the most important things that you learn here, it's not the things you learn like C++, and I mean, yes, you need to learn all of those, but you, as Dr. Tao said, a lot of things are going to become obsolete after you learn them. A lot of them, without constant use, you're going to forget. But the most important thing is learning how to learn. Learning what, as you go through, you know, really bookmark the important things. W3 schools, that's whenever I need to do something with HTML, I don't remember all the tags, but I go back there, and there they are. Or JavaScript, or whatever you need, there are resources that you can go to. So just make sure that you build a toolkit that you can refer back to, and that you know how to use that toolkit. And then when someone asks you to do something, you know, you don't have to say, yes, I can do it. You don't have to say, no, I can't do that. You just say, yeah, that's within the scope of the kind of things that I do, and you know, within a couple of days, I'll be back up to speed on that.
And don't be afraid, businesses will say, we understand. I have a perfect example. I hired someone to do some .NET programming recently. and we then switched to AWS. Both the same kind of technology, very different. Person was afraid that I was going to fire him because he didn't know the technology well enough to do the work. So we sat down and worked out a plan where he could get training. I paid to get on the training. We got him the time that he needed to learn it, and then he did the work. And although it cost me a bit of money, retraining a brand new person to fit program that way would have been way too expensive. So again, how are you saving money? I will pay for you to learn some new technology if you're not going to have to go out and hire someone. Hiring someone costs money, and an average of $30,000 to $40,000. So in Silicon Valley, it adds up quite a bit. So don't be afraid to say I don't know it. Just tell them I can learn it. It's very much like this. I just have to get caught up on the differences.
Yeah, in our business too, a lot of the people that we work with, the most important thing is being able to work within the team and to get along with everyone. It's about who you are, being able to, be a part of the team. So it's like the tools themselves aren't necessarily the most important thing. You can always go out and learn it. But who you are and being able to work with everybody is, for us, has been the most important thing. Like when I was hired here, they actually called all my references, and one of the biggest problems was that their current art director was like one of the prima donna kind of designers who, fought with everybody, was really rude, was not a team player. And so it's just, that was one of their biggest questions when you're talking to my references. You're like, well, how is she to work with? Is she territorial? That kind of thing. Like if my ego got in the way of my work and stuff.
The soft skill is carrying a lot of weight, especially when you move on to manager. Able to work with a diverse set of people is Sarah?
I was going to touch on the point of negotiating the training plan. One of the things that we do at NPS, IT department, is that we spend a lot of money on our employees in getting training. So we make a training plan every year and take advantage of it. If you're asked to say, hey, what do you want to go to training? Make a whole plan, request everything that you want to go to. I've gone to everything I've wanted to go to. And even if it's relearning, I took a Java class here. I'm now having to learn Java starting from scratch. It's okay. They don't expect you to know everything, so don't be afraid to admit it and go out and learn it. So.
Yeah, I want to touch on a little bit on the training too. Yeah, when you're hired on to a company, they're investing in you, and if you're showing, and this is what everyone said already, that you're willing to learn and everything, they'll send you to these things and pay you. You'll get a free ride to go learn all this new stuff, which is cool. Like I'm going to be going to Macworld and going to a conference on OU Campus, which is a content management system that we're using for our new website. And it's just this field you're always learning. And then to touch on, the people skills and everything, when you are working on projects that are enterprise-wide and everything, there are different stakeholders at hand. They don't understand the limits of the technology or what can be done with the technology. So you have to be able to communicate in, a way that non-technology people can understand. And
yeah, that's important. That you are going to work with a lot of business people, working with a lot of clients. They might not know the term technology. You have to have a way to communicate, right? So that's one of the reasons we are doing. We have building teams. Each team has to find a technical subject, produce a video for the general public, and put it on YouTube. So your message over the years is important for us.
I just wanted to mention in general, it's very important to communicate, especially when you start a new job, and don't be afraid to ask your coworkers, if you don't know anything, if you don't know something, because they expect you to ask. So if they see, like you mentioned here, that you're willing to show that you want to learn new stuff, they will try to help you out
Yeah, be flexible and learn new things. My experience when I was even here and also with the industry, when I ask an employee to do something new or something that's innovative, If that person pull out the job description saying, you know, I'm not hired to do that, that person won't last very long. So the curse and the blessing of our field, both CD and CSIT, is that things are changing fast. Okay? So you are needed not only because you have the skill right now, you are needed because you can learn new things fast.
Something else I'd like to add, which is different between my school experience and the real work experience, is that in school you're given like set homework assignments, so you know every day during the week, okay, this is what I'm going to be working on, everything. But in the when you're out there at a real job, things change every day, especially with technology. Like I'll come into work, you know, and I already have my schedule planned, but something comes up, you know, like there's a bug in the website. Well, then my whole schedule has to shift, and you have to be flexible in addressing those issues, and we are working with technology. So that's something else I wanted to add.
I would ask Carolyn to speak, but the rest of the panelists, I want to bring you back to 5-10 years ago. What are the major mistakes or any story that you still remember about the days, the years you spent in CSB? I want you to share one story with us. Caroline?
The one thing you want to remember also is you're applying in just about every job description you're going to get anywhere you're at. It's going to say other duties as assigned. Where I work, that's just the norm. And that means, for me, I'm like you guys. I have a degree in computer science, I program languages, but I'm dealing with TV news stations. I'm booking airtime. I'm doing press interviews, bringing newspapers through. Covering our strikes, seeing what's going on. There's so many different things that fall into other duties as assigned that have absolutely nothing to do with the website. But part of it is you learn to help all the people around you. And as you need help and things, they can come in and help you. Not many people can help me with the web and the computer stuff, but I can always help all of them. Whether it's going to, right now, our facility is under accreditation. Like they come through the college and we've got the Joint Commission at it. I get to go to a meeting tomorrow and answer questions. I have no idea where this fell into my job description because it's not something I would normally do, but my boss trusts me to go and to answer questions and to do the pieces, and those are the things that learn and make you super valuable to the place you work. They make a huge difference in where you're hired and what you do, and the more the person you work for sees this and sees your adaptability and the things that you learn, how you change, night and day difference.
Anyone care to share a story when you were in Situation B that you regret or you helped you the most? Academically, of course.
Capstone project?
Sure, you can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, well, the Capstone project helped me a lot because I got involved with real world out there. Basically, my project was to design an island, was called eLearn for Marina High School. And I designed the whole project from scratch. And I had to go out there to the school, meet with the students, the faculty, introduce them the system, explain how it works, maintain the system while it was live. So the involvement with the real world out there helped me a lot when I started to work.
The capstone is a major benefit of the program, although it's also a major headache before you go out. I always tell students, what kind of capstone do you want to do? The capstone could be the first assignment you do after you got hired. That's the kind of capstone you want to think about. Okay. Other story? Chris?
A little bit to follow there. When I went through, I think every single class had projects and presentations. It seemed like at some point in the middle of it, that's all I was doing projects and then presenting. Just had to look at my calendar and see, am I doing a project today or am I presenting it? Because it was going pretty fast. So there are a couple things I want to say about that. One, doing projects and giving presentations, you know, at first, I didn't want to be anywhere near in front of people. That was not at all my thing. But doing it again and again and again and again, it just became routine. In fact, it got to where you could do it in your sleep because you're half asleep because you've been up all night. At any rate, really take that to heart. Doing projects is what teaches you all this real world stuff that they're talking about. And doing presentations, when you can present your ideas, when you can present what you want to do, when you can present what you've done, that's when you can get credit for it and move yourself ahead. If you can't communicate that way in an organized, delivered fashion, you'll just watch someone else with half the talent that you've got zooming towards the top. And the other thing that's related to that, the thing that I regret is Gerardo and I both came back as later, after we'd already had careers, we came back to sort of document those careers and degrees. So when I came back, I was just on a mission the first thing I wanted was to just get a degree, because I'd gone all this time without one. And also I wanted to learn all this new technology stuff that was just coming out, all this web stuff. Well, the rush to get a degree is somewhat incompatible with learning new things. I didn't really have a lot of time, and so I did rush through, and I did get the degree that I needed. On the second degree, I spent more time. And I took much more time getting my master's degree than I spent getting my bachelor's degree. And I learned a whole lot more when I took my time. So there are so many classes I took in the TMAC program that I learned enough to pass them and do well there, but I didn't learn enough to get it deeply inside of me. And I really wish that I could have gone back and spent more time on a lot of these projects, not stack up so many classes that I'm just getting that deep into it. So you get out of it what you put into it. The more you can put into it, spend that time now while you're here, because you don't have time later for it.
That's a very good point. I actually tried to rush through and I did rush through my
We don't want to tell you how many units we took at once.
Yeah, I'm surprised I signed up. One of the things that did cause me problems later on is I was in IT, I wanted an IT degree. I didn't care about the design part. I hated that they made me take a design class. And as soon as I graduated, I got the kind of job where I needed to know the coding, the design, HTML, all that stuff. So if I had just taken the time to take a couple more classes, it would have really helped. So for those of you that are in technology, take some of the design courses and vice versa, because it will help you out quite a bit. And don't rush through it. If someone's paying for it, especially, just do it.
Don't also try not to think about. I remember exactly where you're sitting, because you're looking at this class going, this is the world's stupidest project. Why am I doing this? Part of it is each project you put into it is something you can show someone else, show us a deliverable elsewhere, and part of it is you. You got to put you into it. You also have to put in something that you're going to want to show someone else as representative of your skills. If you're just kind of turning, I've had some students come through and talk to me that are just kind of turning through work. And you can see the difference in somebody who cares about what they're doing and is doing the project they halfway care about compared to somebody who's just sliding through. I really want to enjoy it. I was a different person. I was a lot older when I came back through. I already had kids, so I knew while I was here I wasn't getting the opportunity to come back again for a while. So I really tried to make each of my classes help, and that's really how I got my job.
Charlotte?
Well, what I wanted to say was, I don't think anyone's talked about any specific classes yet that they felt were beneficial, but there were two classes that I felt were the most beneficial for me in the program. One was CST 405, which is a digital animation class, advanced one. That class really taught me, if any of you are interested in 3D modeling or game design, Maya is a very powerful program, and that taught me I can learn anything and really good project management skills because it's such an in-depth program. It's like all the Adobe programs combined. So I'm, learning that, using that program and learning that program and mastering that program taught me I could do anything, learn anything. The other class was CST 451, which is the web production class. And that class was super beneficial because we were all a team. Our class was working with a real client on a website. So we got that experience where we were doing real world experience on a team. With your capstones, I don't know now if you're required to do teams or not. We weren't required. But getting that team experience on a real project was super beneficial for me. The only thing I regret, I guess, if anything, was because I was a 3D animation major, I had a laptop and I rendered all my 3D animations on my laptop, which caused it to burn out eventually. So don't do that. Use the labs for rendering.
So on the computer science side, the final class you do a collaborative big project is software engineering. For the design side, there's a few classes, but definitely the 451 web production. That is one major project working with outside clients. You experience the frustration talking to someone that have no idea about technology and design, and that's actually very valuable.
I don't have any specific stories, but one of the things that I did do when I was going through school was I made friends with my my professors. Excuse me. One of them was Bobby Long, and she taught that course, the web production course, and actually that client turned into my capstone. And in turn, my capstone was also piggybacking off my service learning. So if you can do your capstone to do both, that's a great way to kind of skip around and not have to do extra work. So that really worked great for me.
Other story, other regrets?
I have one. School related.
Who knows what's coming?
Yeah, Caroline's known me a long time. When I was in my undergrad program, the thing that I regret most is not utilizing my classmates. I basically had one of my best friends in every class with me, and we were kind of like this little thing, like we're going to do our thing, and we're not really going to talk to anyone. And looking back when I was in my master's program, where it was more of a collaborative environment, and you really had to get in and get to know people and use them and their knowledge to help your project. So when I look back, I was like, wow, there were so many more people that I could have, either helped or they could have helped me. So that was the biggest regret, because now I look back at both programs, and the people who understand the most what I do are the people who I graduated with. I could post something on Facebook that says, just finished a huge web portal, took me a year to do, only had one other person helping me on it, and like, my mom will be like, good job, and my aunt will be like, great, and the people who actually went through the program with me will ask me, what did you use? What did you program with? What's LifeRay? How long was the development process? What tools did you use? And that's the kind of stuff that makes you feel really good about your education and the work that you've put in. People who have been there and can ask you the important questions where you feel like, okay, I finished a project, but now people who know what I do are the ones who are really appreciating it. So, advice is, there's a lot of you in, is this one class?
We have
or
about
a combination.
2/3 of the class in the CSC 300. We have about 20 freshmen.
So, a lot of you may have classes together, and you may work in groups together at some point or another, but, don't just stay in the same cliques and the same group of people, because you may find someone who has an incredible knowledge on something that you know nothing about, and just working together and kind of picking their brain will be very useful, during your college career and beyond that.
And to add to that, though, again, it'll be the practice here. They may find you a job later on.
Yeah.
They may go to that company that needs 5 of you, and if you're friends with them, they're more likely to call you than someone else. So, networking and technology, design or otherwise, is very important. So, you may not like it, but it's going to get you the job that you want, so make friends with them.
And the reason why even we grow the TMAC degree into 2 different degrees, we still kind of force you to take a few classes together, is that many future projects need both sides, kind of user side and the computer side and the internal side. They kind of work together, especially when trying to grow more entrepreneurs throughout program. And that project need the visual, the user side, and the learning behind it. So that's still, we try to integrate the both sides.
One of the things you want to think about as you go forward in your life and as you pick up projects and things, there's always going to be something you don't know. Regardless of how smart you are, how brilliant you are at what you do, there's going to be something. But I already know I have a handful of friends that are as smart, if not smarter, that can answer questions. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm stuck, this is where it is, or I want to do this, or if I want to learn about different pieces, I can call into, whether it's my friend in Google or Cisco, my brother's in AT&T. So, I mean, you have a wide network of friends to ask questions and to look. It's super valuable. You don't realize it until later. You all spread out in different places.
Yeah, one of the things one of my best friends and I did was we started a Facebook group called Artists, Designers, Developers of the Central Coast, and so far there's 30 graduates and some current students that originated from here, and that's how we stay in touch. And if we need help with anything or we want to show off a project we're working on, we post our question on there, and someone usually gets back to us right away to help us.
Is it okay if like a student joins that Facebook page, or is it just exclusive to graduates or people who are already on the job?
No, there's students on there, so just find me on Facebook pretty much. So, yeah.
A couple of you have asked, said that we can find you on Facebook or contact you, but how can we contact you guys?
You can find us.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I will put your email list on the course, and through the email you can find
okay.
the name and email.
You can send us after.
Yeah.
Thank you.